Hello everyone, good evening and welcome. My name is Arnold Desser. I wish I had a voice as angelic as Lucinda Drayton, who sang that song for you. Lucinda's voice will be weaving its way like a silk thread through the events of this evening, so you'll be hearing her again. I'm one of the scientific and medical advisors to the Genki Foundation, and I'll be hosting tonight. And our guests are Andy Bradley and Daddy Genki, who will be addressing the subject about living and dying with dignity and peace. Now, I have to find out how many of you have been here before, so let's do a little exercise, a little arm exercise. Can I ask you a couple of questions, please? How many of you are attending a Genki Foundation event for the first time? Just raise your hands. Okay, so it's about half of you. Fine. I've got some other questions for statistics I have to ask you. How did you find out about the event? How many found out about it through email? Email hands? Okay, about 20 of you. Post? How many by post? Not many at all. Website? Give or take one or two. Now, how about the advert in the New Camden Journal? One? Two. Two people got this. Bhavna? Where are you, Bhavna? Two people from the Camden Journal. Okay, well, I guess I should say a few words about the Genki Foundation. It's a UK-based charity whose aim is to promote spirituality and healthcare. And it does this via the literature that it produces, training for healthcare practitioners, CDs it produces, and other publications. So that's what the Genki Foundation does. And tonight we're here as hosts of the Brahma Kumaris. So this auditorium and this building belongs to the Brahma Kumaris. I was thinking while I was contemplating what I was going to say today about the Chinese curse about living in interesting times. And we are living in interesting times, and change is constant, and sometimes it's painful, and sometimes there's conflict. And I was also thinking about this in relation to the news we often hear daily almost about healthcare, the NHS, about social care policy. And certainly these are difficult things, and there's a lot of bad press, no doubt about it. But of course you only hear about the bad things. You don't hear so much about the good things. These are big system faults. You know, all the complaints we have about the NHS and social services, they're big system faults, and that's not what we're going to be talking about tonight. Rather, we're going to be looking at, I hope we're going to be looking at, the much smaller things, the smaller ways in which we can impact our treatment of the aged, the ill, the vulnerable, and the dying. Now, our first speaker tonight is Andy Bradley, and I'd like to welcome him onto the stage. But Andy, I have a special request. I want you to walk very slowly, okay? Very slowly. I'll tell you why I want him to walk very slowly, because I was thinking about the email he sent me when I asked him to inform me about what he'd like me to say about him. Not that he wrote a great deal, not at all. But he did write that he sits down twice a day, he quietens his mind, he follows his breath, and he opens his heart. And that he does this to maintain his connection with himself, with others, and with the planet. Now, I met Andy last year in Oxford at a retreat, and at this retreat, in the lovely grounds in Oxford, there was a labyrinth that was cut into the lawn. And I just sat to one side and watched how guests managed the labyrinth. And some people looked at it as a giant puzzle that they were out to solve as quickly as they could. So they started off and they just beetled their way as quickly as they could through the concentric circles till they got to the center. And then I watched Andy. And Andy was very slow, and very deliberate and very grounded. You could just see the way he was walking, very grounded, step by step, very connected to the earth. And I thought, here's a man who's breathing deep and opening his heart. So, Andy, now do all of those things and also speak to us.
I'm going to speak about living and dying with dignity and peace. And I think a couple of things about what brings me here. I was blessed to spend part of my childhood witnessing what I now realise was a compassionate community, which most often is called a care home. Because my mum and dad opened our home to older people. And my mum was known particularly for the sort of go-to person locally when there were folks who were living locally that were facing particular challenges, primarily as a result of dementia. And a social worker would phone mum and say, Beryl, can you try Lily, something like that. And Lily would already moved in and out of perhaps 3 or 4 different care homes in the last few months, and the medication regime would be upping, and mum would say, of course. So there was a sense of a very open-hearted welcome to people who were really at risk of being left out at the end of their lives, and to not feel loved at the end of their lives. So I'll say a little more about Lily. Lily was a lovely lady who, when she moved into the home, her prognosis was not good. The medics were perceiving that she would live for maybe another sort of 6 months or so. There was a sense of her really being towards the end of her journey in body. And I remember, and I've spoken to Mum since about this, I remember that for Lily to feel safe, she really needed to orient herself to the moment. She needed to feel that she was in a place that was okay. So the way that worked was Mum was initially sleeping on a camp bed in Lily's room, and every time Lily would get up, Mum would come to quite quickly and say, you're doing really well, Lily. Take her by the hands and help her back into bed. And then Mum was able to sort of fade her presence slowly. And I went off to university, and I'd go back, and Lily would be there, and she'd often be holding a tea towel as Mum was doing the dishes, or one of the care workers was doing the dishes. She wasn't quite sure what the tea towel was for, because she was cognitively not really understanding that moment, but she had a sense that she mattered, and she lived with us for another 9 years. And something that was really important to Lily were her teacups. So thinking about dignity, there's a really common loss of self, I think, when people end up becoming labelled by their need for care, or let's say defined by their need for care. So Lily becomes a diagnosis, a woman with dementia, rather than a woman who a man wrote a poem about in the Second World War because he fell in love with her when she was nursing him. And so my mum would make all of the care workers read the poem, Gay Nurse Stokes, so that they really connected with who Lily was and what her story was and who she was as a woman. And teacups were really important to Lily. So Angela, her daughter, when Angela came, Lily would be supported in a kind of ritual of getting out her teacups, a cake would be baked, and they would share. So in our work that we do, which is around closing the compassion gap, we have a philosophy which is called the tea and cake philosophy. And we think of it as the sort of soul of caregiving. And the T stands for teamwork, engagement, and achievement. So that's more on the kind of, we work here and we really need to be together with these living values. And the cake stands for compassion, attention, kindness, and empathy. So we're going to watch a couple of film clips, and then I'm going to talk some more. And the film clips are from a film called Knowing You Matter. Most often in care homes, nursing homes, hospitals, there's a real risk that the folks that work there learn first about things like manual handling, or safeguarding, or risk assessment, or infection control, We'll just take a breath to think about that language. Controllers, guards, handlers, assessors. It's like we've got them surrounded. So we think of this as the furniture of separation, and we need to dismantle the furniture of separation and think in an entirely new way, which is the way of compassion through which people can live and die with dignity in these situations. So I'm unsettled by the culture in health and social care, as I'm sure many of us are, and I say that without any judgment. My experience is people that work in health and social care are full of compassion. It's just tough for them to consistently come from a heart-centered place, so we need to figure that out. So we made a film called Knowing You Matter by listening to elders in care homes and asking them what mattered to them. And we made the film with the intention that it should be the first voice that people hear when they're working in these settings. So we're going to watch 2 clips from the film now. Thank you.
There should be, I think, more concern on the type of person they're sending in to look after the old people, which I think needs looking into, because you don't want somebody that really you just can't communicate with properly. And that's what it's all about, having somebody in that you can talk on a level for a little while, your level, and find that that's probably made your day.
The qualities I would like to see in care is care. And that means that the people who are administering the care would be careful people. People who are not just doing the job for the payment at the end of the day or the end of the week, but they were interested in the work they were doing and would do the best possible they could do.
It's a big subject, and it should, but yeah, I was, it would be a good thing for all carers to give them a platform from awareness. Because it is of concern to me, obviously, because I might be on the sharp end of it if I'm not already, so.
The status of what we call care workers should be enhanced. They should have a structure very similar to what the nursing profession has, so that there's a goal to aim for, so that the job becomes recognised for the value it is giving to society.
Will I just be lumped in a box and told, well, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that? You know, I'd like to be the individual I am now, rather than have the choices taken away from me.
The reality for all of us is that our body decays and breaks down over time, and that our senses may be affected, our mind may be affected, and that we may become over time, vulnerable. Emotionally, physically, mentally. We may need this care. Many of us, many of us will need this care. We must build a future in which we welcome that care and it makes us whole. It doesn't feed our sense of fear and vulnerability and insecurity because it feels uncaring. We must be made to feel loved, accepted, whole, perfect, just the way we are in that moment. That's healing. That may mean that we can die in peace.
Like coffee troubles in your love, despond and cry, cry, cry. Blessed be the Lord God, this would be the God, Lord said. We should be listen to the God, God says, listen to the God, love, to.
Will I just be lumped in a box and told, well, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that? You know, I'd like to be the individual I am now rather than have the choices taken away from me.
My sense is that this is a shift from fear to love. This being this kind of urgent challenge that we feel that we matter when we're feeling vulnerable, Some of you might have seen on the flyers, I have this very surprising tag. I have this radical idea, which is that when we're feeling vulnerable, we should be met with kindness. Some of you might have seen that. So that's one of the most radical ideas in Britain, apparently. That's an idea that could fix broken Britain. That when I feel vulnerable, and one of you is walking towards me, that you should be kind. So it's kind of a paradox, because it's a very simple thing. So the way I think about it is it's a shift from fear to love, or it's a shift from compliance to compassion. So it feels to me like we've ended up with a, if you like, a tick box culture that's very mechanical, very much about getting people through a system, and it's dehumanizing. So another way that I think about it is it's a shift from providing services for people to creating communities for people. Or it's a shift from providing a service to being of service. And there could be no more powerful example possibly on the planet than the power of being of service than is in this room. Where no money has ever been sought, there's simply a wish to be of service from a heart-centered place. And then there's this worldwide magic. So from providing a service to being of service. And then the final way I think about this shift is it's a shift from scarcity to abundance. So when we think about compliance and when we think about tick box cultures, there's never enough staff, there's always too many policies, too many managers, too many spreadsheets. When we think about abundance and we connect with love, well, love is unlimited, isn't it? The potential in our hearts to be healing is unlimited. So back to that shift from fear to love. So I had a bit of a moment with the microphone at the start, as you could probably tell, so I'm going to invite you again to join me in arriving in the talk by just becoming present in your chair, if that makes sense. So just sort of center yourself in your chair and have a sense of your feet on the ground and your weight just arriving in your body. And I'm going to invite you to possibly just subtly shift your awareness by holding the thought, here I am. Just see if you can get a sense of that. It's a very gentle invitation. If that's hard for you to maintain that awareness, then just notice that that's something that's elusive for you. But just see if you can gain a sense of, here I am, in this moment, in this chair. Perhaps scan for any obvious tensions in your shoulders or your belly or your chest. Perhaps your face, and just let that go. Here I am. Let's become aware of your breathing. Here I am. I'm breathing. Have a sense of a gentle invitation to your mind to quieten. No force, no pressure. If you feel your mind jump away, then gently and kindly escort it back to the thought. Here I am. My mind is quiet. Begin to become interested in what's happening in your heart space. With no sense of urgency, just very subtle, can you notice a feeling of opening in your heart space? Perhaps very gently just send the next few breaths into your heart space. Here I am. My mind is quiet. my heart is open. So perhaps you may gain a sense of centering and expanding. Just perhaps begin to become aware of people that are close to you, remaining centered, but begin to become aware of people who are close to you. Physically, perhaps people that are sitting each side of you. It's this expanded, loving awareness. And the way each and every one of you is doing this is perfect, because it's your way. So here I am, here we are. So if as part of this part of the talk you've naturally closed your eyes, I'm just going to ask you to remain very present and centered. Just gently open your eyes or just refocus. So the shift from fear to love is a shift of awareness, and it's a shift of intention. And I can't make the shift through being noisy or cross or frustrated or reactive. So if I feel disappointed in the healthcare system or disappointed in my colleague or disappointed in myself, it's very difficult for me to attain the level of quietness that's required for me to find a state of more consistent compassion. So we're very blessed to offer this practice to social workers and nurses and doctors, and we invite people to adopt a Here I Am practice, which is a writing practice, which Arnold referenced in his introduction. And it's an investment of 10 minutes per day. 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening. So I'm just going to read a couple of things from my Here I Am practice. And just a couple of words about myself. I've been through a cycle of feeling agitated and frustrated and disappointed and saddened and grief-stricken at times by the health and social care system and by what I've seen. And that's been painful for me and ultimately unproductive. And it's just meant that I've been through this cycle of suffering and trying and suffering again. So, in terms of living and dying with dignity and peace, I'm by far the most powerful person on the planet in terms of creating my own state. I get to choose my state, because I can choose what I think about. And then there's unlimited potential for me to offer compassion. So when I soothe myself day after day after day, there is no limit to the compassion that I can show and express, because that's my nature. So 24th of June 2013 AM. Centering my attention, gathering my resources, remaining connected to higher flowing energies, breathing in, breathing out. Stillness speaks, a conductor of sweet, sweet music, heart speak melodies, emerging, unfolding, flowing, beautiful, grounded awareness. Here I am, now. Mind quiet, heart open. Unlimited, extraordinary potential. Flowing bliss. At 5:15 this morning, just before my lovely friend Margaret came down the stairs for us to go to meditate in Worthing, I had 4 minutes to do my Here I Am practice. So I grounded myself quickly, because I could hear Margaret coming, and sat down to write, and this is what I wrote, so I thought I would share it. Here I am here, a soul. What is this middle of the night? Mindset, heart set, peace set. Mindful, heartful, peaceful. What setting is your heart on? Closed or open? Whole or half? Light or heavy? Sad or glad? Each moment you choose. Big, abundant, unlimited, spacious love. Quiet mind, open heart, each breath a wave of compassion. All is love, love is all. So it all starts with me. Living and dying with dignity and peace begins with me. And as I find the structure and the discipline in my life to follow some practices, then I can more consistently be a loving father and a loyal husband, and I can more consistently be of service. I can play my part more consistently. So I use this word advisedly because my lovely daughter felt some resistance to this word, but I'd like to speak a little bit about discipline. I think the word in the Western mind tends to be, perhaps we have an association with the army, but actually I'm disciplined enough to be wearing some clothes in this moment, and so are all of you. And I'm disciplined enough to clean my teeth each day, and I'm disciplined enough to make sure I've got some food in my belly, and I'm disciplined enough to make sure that I pay my mortgage. So why am I not disciplined enough to choose my state of mind? And so I issue that invite with a sense of urgency. Martin Luther King talked about the fierce urgency of now, and I really feel that. I feel that we're at a point. This is a difficult subject. It's very real. For some of you in the audience, this is very real for you. You may be suffering personally, people you love may be suffering, people you love may be in healthcare institutions in this moment, and you may not feel comfortable in your skin. So it's a paradox, because we need to join gentle forces, as happens here, and we need to maintain a sense of stillness. So it's a paradox. And when we can come from this place of stillness, this abundant heart energy, then we can turn things around. So I'd like to tell you a little story about a nursing home where we ran a seminar. And very often in the nursing homes when we run our seminars, which are called the Compassion Journey, people when they come into the space are very nervous and very underconfident, particularly when they see that there's a circle of chairs, because they're used to a PowerPoint presentation and they're used to just ticking a box, really. So they kind of edge into the room and think, who's this compassion, dignity person, what's going to happen? And there's a lot of nervousness. So in our first round of introductions, we very gently, we've had some cake and make people feel welcome, as happens here. And we very gently say, we'd love to hear your name, we'd love to know why you're here, and we'd love to know what your hidden talent is. And it can be hard for people to say what their hidden talent is. This lady who'd come from Poland, whose name was Katya, very quietly said in one of the rounds, I used to be a pianist. And I'd actually been warned about Katya prior to the seminar, saying she probably won't come, and if she does, she'll probably be really standoffish. Because nobody really knew Katya, but she'd worked in the nursing home for around 3 years. So we had the seminar experience, we spent some time listening, we spent some time thinking about self-compassion. Katya seemed to become more and more relaxed, and I was able to say to Katya towards the end of the seminar, very quietly, Katya, how would you feel about playing the piano for us? Because we were in the lounge of a nursing home, and there was a piano in the lounge of the nursing home. Katya was at first a little shy, and I said, please, there's no pressure, only if it's right for you, and she quietly agreed. So she made her way over to the piano, and I asked the people in the seminar to stand, and I got people into pairs, like on Strictly Ballroom. And then I cued Katya in, and she started playing the piano, and you've got the home manager with the cook, and you've got the cleaner with one of the care assistants, and they're dancing while Katya plays like an angel. So I share that story because that's the shift. So that's the shift from compliance, in which we don't need to know Katya, because she's part of a routine which is about ticking boxes, to one of love, where we ask Katya to bring her whole self to work, and we literally let the music play. So I'm going to ask you to think about a question. if I may. And thank you so much for your attention. I'm going to ask you to imagine a moment in the future where you're no longer in the privileged position of being able to make your way to Global Cooperation House for the Janki Foundation lecture. Because now life has changed for you. And I'd like you to imagine yourself on a different chair. And on this chair, part of your reality is that you need somebody to walk towards you and offer you care. Perhaps you're in your own home, perhaps you're in an institution of some kind. And just take a moment to just see if you can get some felt sense of what that might be like, because there are so many souls in this moment that are in that space, and you will know lots of them. So just imagine this moment where you're in this different chair. You're feeling a little uncertain. You're wishing perhaps to some degree that things could be a little different. You're feeling some sense of loss and grief perhaps. And there's somebody walking towards you. And you're not sure who they are, but you think that they're there to care for you. And they're coming towards you now. And from your heart, as much as you can, from this place, what quality do you long for? What quality of presence will give you that sense of regard and dignity that we all long for? So I'm not sure how many people can be seated in this room. If anybody's feeling brave enough, I'd love to hear one thing that somebody's thinking. Somebody shout out, what quality would you long for? Love. You just hold on 1 second. Would you be happy to stand for love? Would you stand? If anybody else had love, would you be happy to stand? We've got a lady that's standing for love. If you would want love, please stand. Goodness, lots of love. Lots of people standing for love. So just take a moment and take a look around and just see how many people are longing in this moment for such a beautiful, simple, humane thing, just to be loved. Somebody over here on my left, I think, said, it's hard for me to see because of the lights. Somebody... Acceptance. Please stand for acceptance. Please remain standing if you're standing for love. Please remain standing if you feel up to it. If that's difficult for you, then don't worry. So now we've got acceptance. What else? Time. Please stand for time. Respect. I think I heard respect. Thank you very much. What else? Kindness. Please stand for kindness. Stand with conviction for kindness. There's a ripple of kindness. Wonderful. What else? Presence. Quality of presence. Please stand for presence. What else? Peace. Please stand for peace. You don't have to stand, but what are other people thinking? Anything else? Recognition. Recognition. Thank you. Please see me. Empathy. Thank you. Compassion. Compassion. Dignity. Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask you to try to remain standing for just a minute or two with me, if you would. So perhaps as you stand there, just have a sense of yourself. So we've been with this kind of here I am awareness. So here I am, I'm standing. I'm standing for presence, empathy, love, kindness, compassion. And as you stand, have a sense of really rooting yourself to the ground. This sense of dignity comes from standing for something. It's what makes us come alive. It's what gives our lives meaning and purpose. So I'm rooting myself with these virtues. This is who I am. This is what I stand for. If you imagine yourself as a tree, this is what I'd love to grow. Can you get a feeling of that power? How powerful each and every one of us is? So this is not the stuff of dignity. So if you imagine that dignity and compassion could appear on a sliding scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is very down and in, sort of London Underground, busy hospital, sort of down and in, not really noticing people. That's number 1. Number 6 is, my mind is quiet. I'm available. I can greet you. I'm going to move more slowly, quite naturally. My mind is quiet. And number 10 is, my mind is quiet. My heart is open. Can you feel that? So just take a moment, just as I move towards the end of my talk. I've noticed Arnold's joined me. Just take a moment, if you would, from this place of number 10, here I am, awareness. Please just connect with somebody in the audience just through the eyes. Just keep your heart very open and just turn and just connect through the eyes to somebody in the audience. Please, just take a moment to do that and just feel that connection through that stillness. And if it feels a little uncomfortable, try to stay with it. Just try to root yourself and ground yourself and see into the soul through the eyes. My mind is quiet, my heart is open, I am a soul. We are all souls. And we stand for dignity and compassion. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't think we've ever had an AGM speaker get everybody standing up. I was sitting for love, I want you to know, until I stood up for time. I really didn't want it to stop. I was thinking about how Andy's presentation contained so many different stories to it. You know, the stories of Lily and her tea and her cake, her teacups and her cake, and Albert England and his books, and Betty. And then there's the story of Andy sitting here telling you the story. And then there's the story about Andy and how he opens his heart and how he reaches out and he captures us. There are almost 100 people watching this online, by the way. So we're much bigger than the number in this room. Something else I was thinking about, Andy, was the paradoxes that you mentioned about replacing fear with love and compliance with compassion. I mean, anyone who works in healthcare is very much aware of that. And of course, that raises another paradox, that the people who are involved in caring only need to be allowed to care. And of course, that doesn't happen. But I also took something else from the talk. I took many things from the presentation. And that was, in my own self, to move from problem thinking to seeing possibilities. And thank you for that. I'd like to introduce you now to Daddy Janki, who I invite onto the stage with Jenti. So if you'd like to move to the stage. And I'd like to first give you some facts about Daddy Janki. Daddy Janki is the head of the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University. That's fact number 1. Fact number 2 is she's the president of the Janki Foundation. Sorry, Terry. Terry's moving. Terry wants to push me off the stage. That's all right. So fact number 2 is that Daddy is the president of the Janki Foundation. Fact number 3 is she's one of the world's great yogis. And fact number 4 is that Daddy probably has more air miles than anyone in the world. She travels around all over the place. My experience of Daddy is that she has limitless optimism. For me, the glass sometimes is half full and half empty, and sometimes it falls off the table. But for Daddy, the glass is always full, and it hovers of its own over the table without spilling a drop. It's quite astonishing. She can be fierce. She can be very fierce, but she can also be very playful and very childlike. Translating for Daddy tonight is Sister Genti, who's no slouch herself. Sister Genti is the European head of the Brahma Kumaris. And she teaches meditation, she lectures all over the world. And yes, Daddy, yes, wave. And Genti has a certain skill of translating with great precision, and takes the nuances of Hindi and puts them into the nuances of English. So we're going to experience that now. After Daddy's finished speaking, Genti will conduct a meditation, a visualization, and we'll take it from there.
मैं लाइट रखनी चाहिए, सबको देखनी चाहती हूँ.
That is requesting that the house lights be on so that you can see others.
मेरे भाई ने तो बहुत सारा ऐसा सुना है.
My brother spoke so well.
मेरा भाई.
My brother.
यहाँ बैठो, इसके बाद जो यहाँ बैठो. ये कहाँ से उसने अपने फादर को देखा. पहले मैंने ओम शांति तो कहूँ. ओम शांति. ओम शांति. भाई सब भाषा की जरूरत नहीं है. ओम शांति. थैंक यू. 3 बारी ओम शांति कहने का मतलब जयंती सुना दो. मैं कौन, मेरा कौन, मुझे क्या करने का है.
When Daddy says Om Shanti 3 times,
मैं कौन, मेरा कौन,
who am I, who is mine, and what is it that I have to do.
जैसे इसको अपने बाप का नाम बाला करने के लिए कितना अच्छा पुरुषार्थ किया है.
You have worked so hard to glorify your father's name.
मेरे को भी ब्रह्मा बाबा, परमात्मा बाप ने उसको निमित्त बनाया. उसको देख 75 years हो गया.
And the one who has given me inspiration, and the Supreme made him an instrument and worked through him. And I saw this 75 years ago.
Love, but उसमें फिर बाबा ने सख्यम्या भाव.
And you spoke of compassion and love, and these I saw in this person, Brahma Baba, but also forgiveness.
काम करती है.
When there's forgiveness, then compassion is working.
Love में निस्वार्थ भाव, निष्काम सेवा.
And in love, feelings of altruism, so that one can serve without any selfish motives.
भारत में कहते हैं एक एक कौरव दूसरे पांडव. कौरव को चाहिए मन्नी और मान, पांडवों को चाहिए एक प्रभु है सब कुछ.
In India, they have a very famous historical epic that they talk about the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and a huge army. And that huge army, and what they wanted was status and position and glory. And what the Pandavas wanted, a very small army, was just simply God's love.
Life में मैंने देखा है ब्रह्मा बाबा को.
In my life, I saw Brahma Baba.
क्षमा भाव.
The feeling of forgiveness.
किसकी कैसे भी कमी होंगी, कभी न देखेंगे, न सुनेंगे, न सुनाएंगे.
He never looked at the weaknesses of others, or spoke of them, or mentioned them.
मुझे बड़ा अच्छा चांस मिला था. बहुत साल हुआ ऑस्ट्रेलिया में गई थी.
Many years ago when I was in Australia,
वहाँ टॉपिक रखी थी forgive forget.
the topic was forgive and forget.
सिडनी में, मेलबर्न में, सब जगह यही टॉपिक रखी.
In Sydney, in Melbourne and other cities, it was the same topic.
मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी.
I liked that topic.
Forgive, forget. इतना अच्छा फर्क कल की बात याद नहीं है.
Let me forget the things of yesterday.
आज 1 घंटा पहले भाई से मिली, याद नहीं, पूरा हो गया.
I met my brother an hour ago and the scene has finished. It's forgotten.
ये बीती को चितवो नहीं, आगे की रखो ना आशा.
So not to touch the things of the past and not to have desires for the future.
प्रेजेंट में प्रेजेंट रहना है.
To be present in the present.
अभी मैं सवारी जो यहाँ आई हूँ, अपन को यहाँ प्रेजेंट देखा, ये भगवान की प्रेजेंट मिली है.
We weren't expecting to have Daddy come, and so Daddy's saying that this time coming to London, it has been unexpected, and it's like a present from God in the present.
लाइफ के अंदर एक फर्क समझाना.
So in life we have to forgive and forget. So don't forget this.
Forgive. Forget. वृत्ति दृष्टि बड़ी अच्छी होती है.
If I forgive and forget, my
वृत्ति में कोई
attitude
बात है
and my vision
जो
is good.
न काम किया है, अंदर जाती नहीं, काम ही नहीं करती वृत्ति.
Then whatever is not useful is not touching my attitude.
स्मृति में ये रहता है, मैं कौन, मेरा कौन.
And in my awareness, I'm aware who am I and who is mine.
जैसे इसने बोला, बूढ़े होते हैं ना तो ज़्यादा शक्ति कम हो जाती है. मेरी ज़्यादा शक्ति अच्छी हो गई है. भाषण नहीं कर सकती हूँ, मैं ऑथर नहीं हूँ, राइटर नहीं हूँ.
Sometimes it is said that old folk lose their memory, but my memory has become better. I'm not a writer, I'm not an author.
जब नेविल को धीरे पूछा, ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है.
Daddy forgets the translation is needed.
मैंने इसको कहा तुम मेरी तरफ बोल दो, कहती नहीं 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 तुम बोलो, मैं ट्रांसलेशन करो.
So
पता है, लेना इसको पता है, गीत गाने वाली हो, मैं कौन हूँ.
I think I should just let the vibrations reach you. So that is saying that this is what I remember, who I am and who is mine, and so my memory in that has become even better. And the one who's singing, Lucinda, is Daddy's friend, so Daddy's saying that she knows who I am.
जयंती, ये पूछूं, मुझे फर्स्ट टाइम कौन देख रहे हैं?
Who's seeing Daddy for the first time? Daddy would like to know.
थोड़े हैं, थोड़े हैं.
Yeah.
थोड़े थोड़े हैं, थोड़े हैं, थोड़े.
It's a few.
3/4 तो है जिन्होंने देखा है. 1/4 होगा, 1/4 से कम है.
Less than a quarter don't know Daddy.
इसमें हिम्मत है, बच्ची हिम्मत बहुत है.
I have a lot of courage.
अभी बोल डांस कर सकती हूँ.
If you ask me, I can dance now.
तुम मदद भगवान की है.
And I have God's help.
हिम्मत हमारी, पहले कहते 10 गुना मदद बाप की, अभी 100 गुना मदद बाप की है.
They say that if you have courage, you get 10-fold help from God, but I feel that I've received 100-fold help from the Father.
क्योंकि मैं कौन, नाम शरीर का जान की है.
who am I? The name of the body is Janki,
परंतु मुझे शरीर से न्यारा प्रभु का प्यारा बनने में शक्ति बहुत मिली है।
but by being detached from the body and experiencing God's love, I've received a lot of power.
शरीर के जो संबंधी है ना, कोई भान नहीं है, न उनको भान है ये हमारी बहन है या कोई।
I don't have the consciousness of the physical relatives, and neither do they see me as their physical relative.
जिसको कहा जाता है सोल कॉन्शियस और बॉडी कॉन्शियस का कॉन्ट्रास्ट समझो।
And so it's important to understand the contrast of soul consciousness and body consciousness.
जब 74 लंदन में आई थी तो जयंती बहन ने डेनिस को ज्ञान दिया था, कोर्स कराया था, पर उसने कहा दादी इसको योग कराओ। मैंने कहा ऐसे सिगरेट की बांस आ रही, मैं योग नहीं कराएंगी। तो पा मैं छोड़ती हूँ, अभी से छोड़ती हूँ सिगरेट भी। बेचारी ने पहले दिन ही पहला कोर्स करते ही सोल बॉडी का, जब बॉडी कॉन्शियस है ना, शराब पिया, कोको कोला पिया, फलाना पिया, ये खाया, वो क्या।
Okay, so I came to England in 1974, and one of the early students had come, and Janti, I had given that individual the introduction, the first day's lesson, and then I took her to Dadi so that then Dadi would conduct yoga with her. And Dadi said, but I can smell cigarettes from her. And this person understood, and she said, okay, I'm going to stop smoking immediately. But she then had some meditation, and she wrote, she went back home, and then she wrote a very long list of the contrast of the consciousness of the body and what happens in that, and the consciousness of the soul and what happens in that. And so when there's body consciousness, I get pulled by all sorts of things. I want to drink Coca-Cola, I want to drink whiskey, I want...
पहली वो इंग्लिश में थी ना, पहले 74 में निकली है।
So this was right at the start of Dadi's arrival, and so within a couple of weeks she had started this course, this particular English girl.
तो फिर मैंने जब योग कराया नहीं, योग में बैठी, कराया नहीं जाता है, ऐसे बैठी वाइब्रेशन से। तो मैंने कहा सोल कॉन्शियस में कैसे संकल्प चलते, बॉडी कॉन्शियस में कैसे, दूसरे दिन लिख करके आओ।
In fact, when Dadi sat down with her to conduct the meditation, she must have felt the vibrations, and then Dadi gave her the homework. Write down the contrast of what are the quality of thoughts when there is body consciousness and when there's soul consciousness.
ऐसे मैं जीना सीखी हूँ सोल कॉन्शियस रहने में, मरेंगी तो सोल कॉन्शियस, सोल में क्या होगा कॉन्शियसनेस, एक भगवान कौन, मैं कौन, जो भगवान ने सिखाया काम करना, उसमें भी 8 शक्तियाँ 12 वैल्यूज है।
Throughout my life, I have maintained the awareness of soul consciousness, and so this is what living is about, to be in the awareness of the soul. And I know that when I die, then I will die in soul consciousness, and the soul would carry within itself the remembrance of God, the awareness of the self, and also all the powers and the values that God has given. There are 12 values and 8 powers we receive from God.
जयंती, आगे भारत में 7 days को कराते थे, अभी मुझे लगता है 7 days की ज़रूरत नहीं है। थोड़ा अच्छी तरह बैठ के प्यारा से शुभ भावना से, प्यार से, शुभ भावना से। शब्द ऐसे निकले जो भूले नहीं।
In India, we used to give the introductory course in 7 lessons. And now, I don't think that's needed anymore. I think it's possible to sit with a person for a short time and with love and with good feelings, be able to explain everything to them.
जब ब्रह्मा बाबा के द्वारा जब मैं सुनती थी तो मैं नोट्स नहीं लेती थी।
When I used to hear the knowledge being spoken by Brahma Baba, I never used to take notes.
कब मैं कॉपी पेंसिल नहीं उठाती थी।
I didn't pick up paper and pencil.
आजकल आप लोग उठाते हो।
Nowadays, I see all of you do.
मैं ऐसे सुन।
I used to sit and listen.
शक्ति, रियलाइजेशन से शक्ति होती है।
And as I heard, there would be realization, and that would be bringing power.
ये नहीं तो मेरे परिवर्तन आया, पर रियलाइजेशन से सच्चाई क्या है।
There was realization of what is truth.
जीवन यात्रा शुरू हो गई।
And from that moment, the journey of my life
तभी
began.
नेविल को कहती हूँ, जीना है तो कैसे, मरना है तो कैसे। टॉपिक मेरी ये रख ली।
And so this is my subject, how to live and how to die. And this is why I want Neville to write a book on it.
तो 75 years मैं ऐसे जी रहा हूँ।
And so for 75 years, this has been how I have lived.
कोई बात मुश्किल नहीं।
And then there's nothing difficult.
किसकी मुश्किल है वो भी हर की हो जाती है।
And if anyone else is having difficulty, one can remove that difficulty.
क्या मुश्किल है?
What is difficult?
सोचने से मुश्किल है।
When I think too much, it makes it difficult.
भाई ने अच्छा बोला, मन को सोचने थोड़ी बात सोची ना, बात छोटी सी बड़ी हो गई।
When I think about something, even a little thing becomes big.
मुरझाना शुरू हो गया।
And I begin to wilt.
पर तो हमको भगवान ने सिखाया है, बड़ी बात भी छोटी कर दो।
But God has taught us how to reduce even things that are big
कुछ नहीं
and
है।
make them small.
नहीं सुनना, कुछ नहीं है।
Somebody who says, but you should listen to this. No, it's okay.
ये अभ्यास से
So by practicing this,
बात को सोचने की, don't think please।
then you don't think about these things. So please don't
ये
think.
बहुत अच्छा लगता है, don't think।
I like this a lot. Don't
peaceful
think.
dignity, peaceful रहना, loveful रहना। So peace और love कैसे आएगा?
So be peaceful, be full of love and
Love,
dignity.
peace मैं औरों को कैसे, जब मेरे पास होगा देंगे ना।
How can I develop such peace and love that I can share it with others also?
धन कोई दान करता है, जब धन होगा दान करेगा तभी करेगा ना।
I can donate wealth only if I have wealth myself.
तो क्या है, मैं इंग्लिश भी नहीं जानती हूँ।
I don't speak English.
स्कूल 3 साल पढ़ी हूँ।
I went to formal school just for 3 years.
11 साल में भी स्कूल में गई, 13 छोड़ दिया।
I went to school at 11 and finished
आपके
school at
सामने बैठी
14.
हूँ।
But I'm here in front of you.
कमाल है सोल कॉन्शियस रहने की।
And it's the wonder of soul consciousness.
दूसरी बात सुनाओ ना, ऐसे जीने से मुझे मरने का विश्वास है, अच्छी तरह से मरेगी। कोई ऐसे मुझे कोई संभालने वाला नहीं है, कौन सा मुझे अच्छी संभालते हैं, मैं औरों को संभालती हूँ।
And by living a life in this awareness, I know that when I die, it will be with a lot of peace and love. And I'm not afraid about who's going to care for me. I'm being cared for with a lot of love. But also, I care for my carers. I look after them.
मैं पेशेंट तो शुरू से पेशेंट रही हूँ, पर पेशेंस इतना है जो पेशेंस को संभाला बहुत है.
In fact, I have been a patient for the most of my life because Daddy's gone through many physical illnesses, but I've always maintained patience.
कंपैशन के साथ धीरज चाहिए.
Together with compassion, one needs patience.
धीरज मीठा बनाता है.
Patience makes us sweet.
सच्चाई से सब काम सहज हो जाएगा.
And when there's honesty, everything works out well.
तो मैंने देखा धीरज की वैल्यू बहुत है.
There's a lot of value for patience.
जैसे कंपैशन की वजह से धीरज की है.
Just as there's value for compassion, also for
तो
patience.
जितना धीरज धरो तो मन शांत ऑटोमेटिक.
The greater my patience, the more my mind can be peaceful.
अभी शार्ट पे बताती हूँ एक बात बाकी. ये दिल है.
One more thing, just briefly, there's the heart.
साफ है.
Let the heart be clean.
कोई दिल में कोई बात नहीं है.
No stains in the heart,
तभी अच्छा
nothing
जीना हो
stuck
सकता
there.
है.
Then life is a good life.
भगवान ने तो सच्चाई सिखाई है, शक्ति आ गई है.
God teaches us honesty, and that gives us strength.
जब दिल साफ है, सच्ची है, तो मन भी कहता है कहाँ जाऊँ.
When the heart is clean and honest, where will the mind go?
उसके लिए भगवान हुआ है, मन मना बहु मन मेरे में लगा दो.
And God has asked us to engage our mind with Him, and so the mind then goes to God.
प्रैक्टिकल है. मैं कोई गुरु नहीं हूँ जो फॉलोअर बना हूँ. बाबा ने कोई फॉलोअर नहीं बनाया है, पर बच्चा तुम ऐसा प्रैक्टिकल करो.
I'm not a guru, I don't have any followers, and Brahma Baba also didn't create followers, but the relationship was of parent and child, and the father would teach
टीचर हूँ,
us.
आप स्टूडेंट है, ये भी नहीं है.
This is how to remember God, and this is what you need to do. He
परमात्मा
didn't even call himself a teacher. He would say, God
मेरा
is the
बाप
teacher.
है,
God is my father,
मेरा टीचर है,
my teacher,
सतगुरु है.
and the true guru.
जैसे सिखाया है, उस पर चलने से बहुत बल मिला है.
By following the instructions that God has given, there's been
तो
a lot of
हिम्मत से
strength.
बच्चे मदद बाप.
So the courage of the child and the help of the father.
सच्ची दिल से साहिब राजी.
And the Lord is pleased when there's an honest heart.
सच्ची दिल है,
So let the heart be honest.
साहिब राजी है.
And the Lord is pleased.
तो मुझे कोई ऐसा रंग काम मेरे से हो नहीं सकता.
And then there's nothing wrong that I can do.
मेरा साहिब मेरे ऊपर राजी रहे.
Let my Lord be pleased
ये
with
लक्ष्य
me.
है, तो ऐसे लक्ष्य आते हैं.
If I have that aim, then I develop those qualities.
तो अभी टाइम थोड़ा है, टाइम पूरा हो गया है, परंतु इनको 8 शक्तियाँ और 12 वैल्यूज. कभी नेक्स्ट टाइम प्रोग्राम रखो.
We run out of time now, but another time we can have
Sunday
another
सुबह
program
रखेंगे.
in which we can hear
Sunday सुबह
about
रखेंगे.
the 8 powers and the 12 values.
संडे सुबह रखेंगे. संडे सुबह को इनविटेशन दो, मैं हाजिर हूँ. संडे को जा रही हूँ ना रात को.
Daddy leaves for India
Sunday
on
morning.
Sunday night, and so she's inviting you to be with her here on Sunday
निमंत्रण
morning.
दो जो आए ने. मैं अभी ज़्यादा नहीं सुनाएंगी, टाइम हो गया. Okay.
The time would be very
तो
early.
हिम्मत,
It
विश्वास,
would be
सच्चाई.
8 o'clock in the morning.
ये जीने में मरना अच्छा होगा.
So if the heart is honest and clean
जो
and the
मुझे
mind is peaceful,
ये
then
जानता
life
है।
is a good life
ये
and we
जानता
die easily.
जानते हैं ये कितने साल से जानते हो पता है नहीं ये जानता है ना तुमको नहीं पता है और ये अच्छे से जानते हैं
Yeah. Craig, how long have you known Daddy?
भारत में
32 साल.
मेरा
23
तुमको ने मेरा
साल.
मुझे पता है जानता है
Daddy's looking at Craig and I don't know who she was looking at.
अहमदाबाद में डॉक्टर्स का प्रोग्राम था मुझे कैसे भी करके तुम आओ मैं गई मैं अब डॉक्टर हो दवा देने वाले मेरे पास कुछ दवाई तो है नहीं मैं क्या बताऊं आपको डॉक्टरों को पर डॉक्टरों को क्या बताऊं शुभ चिंतन में रहना दवाई है
Daddy had a
सबके लिए शुभ
meeting.
चिंतक रहना दुआ है
Daddy had a meeting with a gathering of doctors in Ahmedabad just a little while ago.
शुभ चिंतन
And when she went to meet with them, she said,
शांत रहने का
and she told them that you're the people who give medicine, and in Hindi the word is dawai. And she said that the medicine that I give and that I'm going to give you, doctors, is have pure thoughts. Having pure thoughts is medicine, dawa, but also having good wishes for others is dua, good wishes, blessings.
अच्छा भाई ने सुनाया श्वास को देखो
My brother spoke beautifully of watching the breath.
मेरा श्वास की थोड़ी स्थूल में प्रॉब्लम है पर यहाँ देखो
Sometimes Daddy has a bit of a problem with her chest, her cough, but now everything is
श्वास
fine.
संकल्प समय सफला करना है
I should use my breath, my thoughts, my time
तीनों वैल्यूबल
in a
है
worthwhile way because all are valuable.
इसमें मरेंगी तो अच्छा है
And if I die like this, it's beautiful.
बहुत बूढ़ों की सेवा की है किसने यहाँ शरीर छोड़ा होगा
I have cared for many old folk, and some have even left the body in my lap
यहाँ प्यार से
with love.
तो किसी ने मेरा परिचय दिया शी केयर करती है शेयर करती है इंस्पायर करती है मैंने कहा ठीक है
Somebody introduced Daddy saying that she cares, she shares, and she
केयर
inspires.
शेयर इंस्पायर ये आज कैसे स्टेज पर आया
And so
पहला बारी देखा
you were sharing and caring and inspiring.
ये मैं देख रही थी पता भाई को किसने पेरा यहाँ आने के लिए
Daddy is very happy that you've come. Daddy wants to know who invited
जैसे
you.
कहाँ से
No, very, very
किससे
practical
कैसे परिचय
question.
मिला इसको यहाँ आने के लिए
Craig.
इसने बहुत अच्छा देखो ये अच्छा है ये तीनों अभी एक से तीन हो गए
So from one it's now become three.
बहन जैसे और कौन है कोई नहीं देखो एक से तीन हो गए जानकी फाउंडेशन को बताएगा
So now that we've got three, Janki Foundation is going to enjoy things more.
कितनी सेवाएं मुझे कहा नीचे नहीं आना पर मैं आई क्या देखा कितनी सेवाएं
We weren't expecting Daddy to come down to the general meeting of the Janki Foundation, but she came.
बड़ी खुशी की
And
बात
she was
है
able to see all the information about all the service activities that have been happening. So
अभी
Daddy was
2
happy
मिनट
to
आप
see that.
साइलेंस में योग कराओ
Okay, let's have a few minutes of reflection
मैं इसको
just to close. Sitting quietly, looking inwards, coming to the awareness of who I am. I, the being of light. I, the being of peace. I, the being of love, of compassion. In this awareness of who I am, there is value for the self, there is dignity, and in this awareness, I connect with the divine, the supreme, the being of light, the one who forgives, the one who loves, the one who uplifts, the one who cares, the one who heals. And in this connection with the divine, all the spiritual powers within the Supreme come to me as a gift. All the values that I know are important come to me as my right, as my inheritance. Filled with God's power and the values bestowed by the divine. I can live a life of dignity, a life of peace, a life of giving. And I know that the final period of my life will also be filled with peace and dignity. And when it's time to leave, I, the soul, will go to the divine with love.
The one thing which I did find what Dadi Janki said about that if you have the courage, then you get help from God 100-fold. And I think that's quite topical and quite timely in this point of time. And I think I take that quite close to my heart, and I probably will start working on that courage a bit more so that I can feel that 100% coming my way.
I became seriously ill a few years ago, and what was lacking was kindness. I've tried to use kindness with the charity I've set up and working with my patients now, but this evening clarified it really deeply when we were asked what did we want from people that were caring with us. I eventually came to one person that was really kind, and I've never forgotten it.
What's touched me most about this evening is the lightness of the evening, the whole way of the presentation, the fact that everything has come from the heart, the lightness of Andy, the lightness of Daddy. It's just been wonderful. I can't say. It's left me feeling full of love.
from the time Andy got on stage, the songs, it was like a thread that were wove through the whole evening. Everything from Andy to Lucinda to Daddy Yankee, it was just so present, so vivid. It was a wonderful, wonderful evening. It captures everything that living and dying with dignity portrays.
I think the power of living from the heart and retaining a sense of soul consciousness and the power and potential for happiness that's found within that sense of heart and soul, it's been very beautiful. Thank you.